Good morning, everybody. Shift Your Mindset here with a new episode, and that's the JWs lost another appeal in court. And it's not just a court. I will put this document also in the description so you can read it yourself, because I'm also not a lawyer, but it's plain simple and it's in the big leagues, because we're talking about the Supreme Court of New York. And as I can see, they filed a complaint, dismissed the complaint already in November 16, 2023. And this one is dated on November 6th of this month, 2024. And I find something interesting. And the interesting thing is Archie KJW1 Doe versus Governing Body of Jehovah's Witnesses appellant. It's the first time for me I see an appeal or something where it said Governing Body of Jehovah's Witnesses. Not Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, but Governing Body of Jehovah's Witnesses. Is this the beginning for a case when things are breaking open so they can go after the governing body? Because we all know the governing body is hiding behind the congregations, that they act separately, that they're ruled by the elders, that the elders are reviewing the cases of CSAs and stuff like that they have no control and power over it, whatever. But let's dive into this. What is it? Court order, appeal order. It's a decision about, in an action to recover damages for personal injuries, the defendant, the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, appeals from an order of the Supreme Court, Kings County, dated November 16, 2023. The order denied the defendant's motion to dismiss the complaint insofar as asserted against it. So that was last year, they dismissed it. And this is the appeal. The plaintiff commenced this action pursuant to the Child Victims Act against the defendant, governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, among others, alleging that the governing body was liable under different theories of negligence for CSA, perpetrated against the plaintiff by a ministerial servant, Ronald Mark Harding, during the years 1991 to 1994, when the plaintiff was a member of the defendant King's Highway Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, Brooklyn, New York. The governing body moved the pursuant to dismiss the plaintiff insofar as asserted against it. In an order dated November 16, 2023, the Supreme Court denied the motion. Guys, we're talking about the Supreme Court. These are the big leagues. So it's gonna get serious for the governing body, I think. Because a little bit down further, we see the plaintiff sufficiently alleged that the governing body was a dual entity capable of being sued as an unincorporated association. Notable, the summons listed the discrete addresses for the governing body which were different from the addresses listed for the other defendants, including the defendant Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York. different addresses for the governing body than the other defendants, like the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. That's because the governing body doesn't only live at the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, at the headquarters in Warwick, where they have a little apartment, also a luxurious apartment with everything they need. But we all know that they own their own houses where they stay. And it's not the small house where you and I have to live in. No, it's our luxurious houses in the neighborhood for very famous and for famous people around them. They're not living in the neighborhood with unknown people and you don't know who they are. They're living in real good neighborhoods. We all know it. We all know the stories of plumbers, of other people who put appliances in and stuff like that, that they had to go to the governing body houses to install things, and it's a luxurious mansion. But it intrigued me that the addresses here in this plaintiff were different than from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. So that's a good thing. But then they go on. Additionally, the complaint alleged that during the dates of the CSA of plaintiff, defendant governing body established the sexual abuse policies implemented by Watchtower and all congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States, including congregation, that congregation of that ministerial servant. Established the policies for appointing and supervising elders and ministerial servants within the Jehovah's Witness organization. Participated in the appointment of elders and ministerial servants and exercised supervision and control over elders and ministerial servants, including Harding, that ministerial servant in that CSA case, because it was about 1991 till 1994 for that guy that he committed a sin. And this is the interesting part, because they are always hiding about the behind the congregations, that the congregation are separate in entities who have their own structure and doing their own things. But here, now, it's stated clearly that the governing body established the CSA policies implemented by Watchtower and all congregation in the United States. That they are establishing policies for appointing and supervising elders. So that's gonna bite them in the ass, that their policies were spread out over all the congregations of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And we know it's not only in the United States, but that policies are worldwide. So that's the thing now where they messed up. Because if you make a policy for all the congregations, there is a link between you and the congregations. You are operating like a business. On top, you draw up the policies and you implement them beneath you. And here it's proven now that they are appointing and supervising elders. They're supervising circuit overseers. They are appointed by Bethel. They established those policies worldwide. So I think this is going to turn against them. The complaint further alleged that the governing body compromises 8 members, claims to have a formal president or secretary, and has a coordinator that was formerly referred to as a chairman. We know, I think Surenko is on paper the director of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, but he doesn't play a role maybe behind the curtains that we know. The complaint further alleged that the organizational structure of the Jehovah's Witnesses is hierarchical. So it's hierarchy. And that the organization head of the Jehovah's Witnesses was and is the governing body. As such, the complaint alleged that authority flows downward from defendant governing body to the local level of the organization, which is made up of congregations. They do their homework, and I'm loving it, because that's exactly how it goes. It flows downward all the way to the congregation. Their policies, their appointments, everything. The complaint also alleged that at all times relevant to allegations in the complaint, both Watchtower and the governing body had ultimate authority over the appointments of any candidates to various positions, including elder, ministerial servant, secret or district overseer, and that Harding, that guy we're talking about, of that CSA case, that ministerial servant, was a ministerial servant of the congregation at the time of the alleged abuse. But they just go on. We're not finished, guys. Moreover, in opposition, the plaintiff submitted various documents from Watchtower, including one entitled Overview of Jehovah's Witnesses U.S. Organizational Structure. So you can go into the digital era governing body. You can try to wipe out things. You can delete shunning videos. You can do all that crazy stuff now to hide and show the world that you changed. But we have that old literature. Many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have all the hard copies of your organization. And people are not buying those new light theories because you're only doing things now online. You're not printing that much anymore, because then it's easier to cover your tracks. But it's not gonna help you, because the structure, it remains still the same. You just want to get the attention of it by deleting stuff, but it won't work, because we all know how the structure is. It's a pyramid. Top, congregation down, doesn't know anything, just have to follow direction. So the overview of Jehovah's Witnesses U.S. organizational structure. In this document, that document stated, among other things, that Watchtower, incorporated in 1909, is a non-profit corporation used by the governing body to hold title to properties in New York, print Bible-based books and magazine, it's almost dead, and to sponsor schools for missionaries. We forget about that one easily. But that's also a proof that the governing body has its tentacles in everything that goes around. The missionaries are always sent by the governing body. So that's a proof that you are running the show. And we go on. Branch committee members, traveling overseers at the Watchtower Education Center in Paterson, New York. Until October 2000, it was also used to oversee activities of Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States. That document also stated that the governing body currently has 7 members. Now it's 11, but 7. All of whom reside in Brooklyn, New York, and that since 1975, the governing body has been organized into 6 committees, including a coordinators committee that has oversight of legal matters and crisis. So then it goes on. Here the complaint not only alleged that the governing body is comprised of 8 members, now more, and claims to have a formal president of secretary, but also that the governing body has a coordinator that was formally referred to as a chairman, and that the positions of coordinator rotates on a yearly basis in alphabetical order. And we all know that. So here at the end, the complaint alleged that the plaintiff was a member of the congregation in which a ministerial servant who allegedly abused the plaintiff was an agent of the governing body, that the governing body knew or should have known about its ministerial servant's propensity to engage in such conduct, and that the conduct occurred during congregational activities and during times at which the plaintiff was under the governing body's supervision and care, custody and control. So they get slapped around here, the governing body. They should have known. And they should have acted against it. They should have protected all those victims. They should have said sorry, like the Catholic Church already did. But till this day, the governing body never said sorry. They never took responsibility on jw.org, on the news items, or in a governing body update. They never ever addressed that there are cases against them. You never hear something about CSA in the proper channels as a JW. They never feeling the responsibility to say, guys, we are responsible for all the policies within the Watchtower, and we deeply regret that those cases aren't handled accordingly to the law. We want your money, government, for grants and everything, but we don't want us to give you someone to convict in this system. We take care of that. So it's a one-way street. They only want what's not belonging to them, but they never go the other way. To cooperate with the current law in the country you reside. So the parties' remaining contentions are without merit. Accordingly, the Supreme Court properly denied dismissal of the complaint insofar as asserted against the governing body. Here we are, guys. There was in a nutshell this case. What they did, the New York Supreme Court, they shut them down. No other words. They left nothing whole of them. And I think this is an opening, because it's all about governing body in this. I think this is the beginning of a lawsuit against the governing body. I think it's a building up case. This appeal, the governing body did this appeal, and it's gonna bite them, because now the spotlight is on the governing body. And they already explained in here that the governing body is responsible for the policies in the whole United States. I think worldwide. but they only focus on the United States now. They are appointing elders, circuit overseers, district overseers, whatever. So it is a business. And when you are not running a business well, you have financial problems or problems in your behavior and your conduct, then someone on top is responsible and someone's head has to roll. It's going to be chopped off. And who's it going to be? Is it the beginning of a dissolving the governing body? That they step back and let the congregations do their thing, or change some entities or whatever? But something has to be done. And I think this will scare them, because I think it's maybe the beginning of that the governing body can be sued. And the only thing you and I are going to hear on JW is maybe that the governments are prosecuting or persecuting the Jehovah Witnesses, and it's Satan and it's new light and the end is coming and stuff like that. They always twist it to a prophecy. We are already it's already happening now, and we told you guys you have to do more and more donations, because this appeal they lost. So I think they have to pay also again with your ice cream money for it. But this is a big thing, guys. I think this will have an aftermath, so to call. I think this is the beginning of maybe something that a lot of victims are waiting for. That somebody within the organization takes the responsibility, or is forced to take responsibility of what happened in this religion, in this cult. Because someone has to be responsible for all the damage that has been done. Not only for the people who are being shunned, but also the people who had to experience those horrific things, never been hurt by someone, never taken seriously, often being mocked. No, there's no two witness. You don't have to stress, leave it to Jehovah, whatever. Jehovah isn't leaving it. Jehovah is cleaning his own house. And JWs, maybe you are in the wrong house. And maybe all those prophecies and go out of Babylon and stuff like that. Maybe the Bible is speaking about your own religion now. So do your research, do your critical thinking. Let me know what you think about this, how it will go, how it will end, and we see each other on the next episode. Have a wonderful Sunday. Enjoy the last day of your weekend, guys. See you next time.